Live.
Live.
Yes, we are live. Okay, cool.
What's going on?
So, what's happening? Yeah, what's happening? What's happening?
Nothing much.
So
Just
basically,
trapped in my house.
well, aren't we all? I think that's
Yeah.
it. Aren't we all? And that's kind of spurred what we're doing right now. To be fair, trapped in the house. Kind of said it for a long time.
This has come out of boredom.
Pretty much just come out of boredom. Great things come out of boredom, you know? The old Einstein and tree. No, that wasn't. That was what's his face? Wasn't it? Isaac Newton. Oh, okay.
Sat under a tree.
Sat under a tree. Yeah, the whole
outside.
apple.
At least he was outside.
At least he was outside. That's true. But basically, we're doing this just to kind of spark a bit of interest. I like my thoughts challenged. I like people with different point of views, just, I don't know, airing it, saying what they got to say. And I think, obviously, in the time that we're in, people don't like doing it anymore. One, trolls, people always got something to say and want to take it personal. And they just, I just think it's you don't have to agree with someone's thoughts to say yours and understand theirs. And that's what I kind of want to get out of this. I mean, I guess you feel the same, but that's my main thing. What we're doing.
I like to, yeah, man. And just, I think it's important just to talk and try and, like when you're talking, if you put your ideas out there and people can challenge them and change the way you think about things, I think that's important, especially at the moment when, previous to like what's happened now, the whole world's kind of seems to be a bit more divided, and people hold their ideas as personal values that when they come under attack, they take it as like a physical attack on them, rather than seeing it as a positive, to seeing like, okay, this challenges my perspective. How can I defend that perspective, or how can I incorporate it? So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. It's growth, isn't it? It's growth. We can take that, and I could talk about that by itself, especially with this whole PC world that we live in, and go off on a whole new tangent. But
our warning.
Yeah, I know.
In specific detail for at least 3 hours.
Yeah, for real.
Obviously, you've got other responsibilities you got to get back to. So
yeah, I understand that.
I'll try and keep you on track.
Yeah, try. I mean, many have tried and failed, but
so this is like an intro, really, isn't it? This is like an intro to like who we are and that sort of thing. So I suppose I'll open up with some questions I thought of before I came on here, that because I obviously know you really well. We've known each other for like what?
A long time.
10 years?
I don't even. It's got to be at least now. Jeez, man.
Like 10 years, man. Like, obviously, I worked for your dad, and that's when me and you started working together, and then became good mates. Something that I've never asked you, but I always thought I was quite curious about. And I've got like bits and pieces from you as we like over the years and stuff. I think a lot of people can relate to growing up in, like in a football household, or in like different types of households and different types of families. What's it like growing up in a martial arts family? Like, what insight do you have in growing up in a family that's dominated by absolute killers in the Page family, but like in a big family, but it's an individual sport? What's it like? What's that like?
You know what? It's probably everything people would imagine it to be. As weirdly as that sounds, you think everyone's flying off the walls, fighting each other, and the rest of it, and it's pretty much like that. It is pretty much like that. But the difference is, it's not out of anger. What you find in a lot of households, people get annoyed with each other and they don't know how to express it. So they're slamming doors and breaking plates and swearing and shouting. Whereas martial arts household, you don't get any of that. There's no real need to exert any of that energy in any other place but in the gym. So really, you get annoyed and you shrug it off, oh, whatever, watch, and then you get to train and you put your gloves on and you get it out.
But was there like a definitive hierarchy in your family? Like, so
an unspoken
everyone
one.
knows Michael and he's like the best fighter.
Yeah.
Was it that, okay, Michael's top dog, like he's gonna kick my ass, or was it different?
It's weird because obviously CJ, Mike, Jamie, all similar in ages. So there probably was a little bit more of a struggle between them than I would have noticed. I was the one getting tripped up, just getting full on picked on, just having a laugh with. Between them, and my sister is the eldest, and she used to just basically save me. So my role was to survive or snitch, essentially. So I think amongst them, there was probably a lot more of that because, yes, Michael's gone on and, professional in MMA and things, but CJ's the eldest.
Yeah.
So there was a time where, CJ started before Mike and was doing and winning before Mike was winning. But Mike's, his hunger is crazy. So then he...
Do you think Michael would have got to that level without having that, trying to be competitive with that kind of big brother power?
I think yes. And the reason why I say yes is because I don't think it was that so much CJ himself that kind of made that that want for him to do well, be successful. I think it was a lot of the guys in the gym, because we didn't have like the way I run my club now. I've got different age groups and different abilities. It was everyone in. So Mike at a young age was training with fully grown men, and it was a case of, you get hit and you get hit. Like it's a fully grown man. So he had to kind of wise up quite quickly, and step up quite quickly. I think the brotherly thing definitely helps, but I think it's more worked in a reverse order, i.e. the younger one chipping at the older one's heels makes them work harder. Because again, as you're the eldest one, you kind of hold yourself as top of the pile.
Yeah.
And the younger one's just trying to take you down at every given. I mean, that was definitely my brothers, like Jamie, CJ, Safina, they moved to America when they were fairly young. So then it was like me and Mike over here. And, that was definitely our relationship. Although he wanted me to do well, I just was motivated to get to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, nah, stay in your place. And it was that kind of battle that pulled me along, but made him work harder as well and be like, nah, I can't let him catch me. But yeah, go on.
I was going to say as well, like, that your dad taught a definitive style of martial arts from what you guys competed in. How would you say because you're all even though you're all from the same family, you're quite different, like in terms of personalities, but also just in terms of physically, like you're all different. You're tall, broad, strong. Michael's he's obviously tall, but he's not as tall as you.
Yeah.
CJ's short still, Jamie's short still. Like how are your styles different? And do you think that was affected by family dynamic as well, and how you kind of came out?
Nah, I think a lot of it, I mean, yes, obviously your environment influences certain things, but I think a lot of it's personality as well. Like Jamie, I mean, to this day, he's just been on his own stuff. Like he's very, like I've always admired him for it. He knows his mind and he just does what he wants. And when you've got a dad that's that much consumed by martial arts, Jamie used to just shrug his shoulders. Everyone else is trying to impress. Jamie's like, so what? Whatever. Like that was just him. Like that was his personality. He was like, yeah, whatever. And he'll come on and he'll do well and he'll smash up. But he's like, whatever. He's taking it in his stride. He's not getting, I'm not even that fussed about going to training. Like it's not, that doesn't bother me. He's just so happy to just do whatever it is that he wanted to do. And even to today, like, if everyone goes left, Jamie's like, cool, I'm going right. And that was his personality. So I think a lot of it was pulled down to that. I think we all had a bit of showmanship, but I think that was learned. Like my dad was a bit of he liked to, showcase his skills and stuff and celebrate. And, Trinidadian likes to party. And he was, a bit of a showman. I think I think we kind of took that from him. But I think other than that, it's a lot to do with just personalities. Michael is a very determined person. And he's very much I say rebellious. I use that word lightly, but it's if you tell him to do something or he can't do something, he has to prove otherwise.
All of you run on that FU energy.
Yeah.
You all run on that FU.
Tell me I can't, I'll show you I can. And that's literally...
But like, more about you, like, how would you describe yourself as a kickboxer, martial artist? Like, if you were to say, like, my style is this, what would you say?
It's a good question. I haven't really... When you've been doing something your whole life, you forget to put yourself in a box, if that makes sense. So I can't really say...
I think a better question then is, if you had a signature move, like a specific weapon that you use, what would you say, like, that's my 10,000, that's the weapon I've got 10,000 reps on?
It has to be my sidekick.
Sidekick, yeah.
It has to be my sidekick. The reason being as well, it's so straight, like I can throw it and land it when I want. Yeah. Like the shot's never not there for me. And if you're sparring with me, you're getting 1, 2, 3 sidekicks. Like it's going to happen. So it's kind of, it's just that's what it is. I just know how to look for it. Kicking in general, to be fair, but I like the sidekick simply because I can throw it to the body and get my leg back down on the floor. Yeah. All the high kicks, they look good, but my leg's high. I've got long legs. You start closing my leg down, and I'm off balance essentially. So a sidekick, I can slam it on you, and I'll keep it moving. So I'd probably say if I had to choose, it would be a sidekick. But I've never really had to choose. Like I've always. Yeah. It's the sport we was in as well. Like the kickboxing, it's very adaptive. So I've changed my style completely to fight different people. So I've gone in fights where I've not kicked at all. I have just tactically. So it's I think that's where Michael's so strong. Now he's gone to MMA because he's ready to adapt to who's in front of him.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that actually, like how, I think when we were younger and we were like involved in I was involved more in the sport, but we kind of saw seeing the rise of MMA, and I remember watching like George St. Pierre fight and thinking like his stand up looks so. It's pretty good now, but like it looks so stiff compared to the way a lot of point fighters fight, and now you see a lot of point fighters going in. Your brother, Wonder Boy Thompson, a few others that are doing really well with that karate point style fighting. And we were kind of like, this our style was the best style. I think as we've got older, like our minds have changed a little bit. But how has you're now training with shoot fighters and stuff? How has your style changed, and how has your perception of martial arts changed in the like 10 plus years, whatever?
I still, bias maybe, I don't know, think our style is the best style. However, our style is not the finished and ended product of combat. So what I'm saying is you can adapt our style. It's very versatile. You can do so much with it, more than any other style. However, standalone in combat, you can find so many benefits from other things. And also, like I said, doing something over and over again for so long sometimes freezes your mind into thinking a certain way. So sometimes you just want a change. I mean, the first time I was sparring in the cage and I got grabbed, all my senses were like, what the heck is this? Like they're grabbing me and throwing me, like what's happening? And that kind of made you go, whoa, okay. I would have to change and adapt my style to make sure that doesn't happen so often, or to make sure if it does happen, I know exactly what to do. And like, that's what I mean by, I still think it's the best style. I still think you know, we've had people go very far in taekwondo, in boxing. You know, you got Chantel Cameron; she's doing really well in boxing. You've got Damon Sampson went to taekwondo. Michael's gone to MMA. A lot more has gone to MMA as well now. And you're just kind of like, this combat, as the combat goes, it's ridiculous. Like it's so versatile. The timing, the speed, is crazy. And going to shoot, I think, has really shown me how effective my style is, but also how dangerous it could be if the rules change. So essentially, you can adapt it, but that alone, if you went, oh, I know this style, I can do MMA, you can't. You just can't. And also, there's different ways in nullifying it, and nullifying some of the things we do. But like I said, we're adaptive, which is again why the style's so good. Because as soon as you start to nullify it, we look for something else, and we generally find it. And that's what happens. You know, people try and close Michael down, and all of a sudden he changes his style up, and they're like, oh, now I have to deal with this. Then he goes back to his original style, and then you're like, oh, now I have to deal with this. But what you have to remember, we're used to tournaments, and we used to fight people, different people, every round, and nothing was the same. One person come out kicking, other person trying to take your head off of your hands, and you had to adapt. So, yeah, I would say shoots open my eyes to the world of martial arts is a big world, and you can learn it through so many different channels, and you have to keep an open mind. But in terms of the style, I think ours is definitely the dark horse. No one, you either know or you don't know, and I'm telling you, like, if you've been doing our style for a long time, it's effective. It's effective. It just is. And one thing I've always respected and kind of reassured me in that is the interest Royce Gracie had in Michael. Like, yeah, Michael's jiu-jitsu is good, but there's many out there that's been doing it a lot longer and what have you as well. So for him to take an interest, he sees something, I think, almost generational, like something different to just a good fighter.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's got a unique. What is the unique? Even within our sport, it's a unique style, isn't it? He fights. If you saw a silhouette of Michael fight, and you'd know it's him. Like you wouldn't. He doesn't look like anyone else who fights that way. So, it's quite cool.
I think it's funny because I'd say yes, but at the same time, I reckon if you brought the naked eye to our sport and brought them round, they would see hundreds of Michael Pages. And what I mean by that is they won't see, because remember, he is a big, you see his personality, the flamboyancy, the dancing, that's his personality. But his actual style, his hands low, him shooting in, him quick footwork, is actually something that collectively, as a sport, there's fighters faster than him in our sport.
But I'm saying if you saw just the silhouette,
100%, 100%. But then again, I think, that's again, I think a lot of it's to do with where he started, because I've watched back videos of myself before, and he's even watched videos of me and went, oh, right, I thought that was me. Oh, is that you? With the head guard on, you see what I'm saying? So I guess it's, and I mimic, obviously, he's my older brother, so I've probably mimicked a lot of his mannerisms and stuff anyway. So I can understand why that would happen, but I think it's more him. He wanted to draw eyes to a sport that no one else really knew or respected, basically. So he just started being playful. That's one thing that we always was really playful and creative. So he, started dropping his hands, started doing this, started going left, started sticking his tongue out, winding people out, started doing all this stuff to try and draw eyes. And then everyone went, look what he's doing. That's crazy. And straight away, it drew eyes to what we was doing in the sport. It just wasn't a big enough stage.
No.
And then he went on a bigger stage, and he's doing exactly the same thing. Like, you can look back on videos of when he started out, and he's still doing the same.
That was what was weird for me watching. I remember watching his first fight against, it was Dishman, wasn't it? Ben Dishman,
Yes,
that
Mr.
poor
Dishman.
soul.
Oh, no.
And I remember watching him going like, oh wow, like he's actually just fighting like point style in the cage.
Yeah.
And then I thought when he goes his next fight, and it hasn't changed. He fights exactly the same. Obviously, there's little modifications that him and his coaches know about, and that sort of thing. Certain moves he doesn't throw, certain situations he doesn't throw certain moves. But that was the big. I don't know what I expected to see, but I think maybe in my head I was thinking he'd come out a little bit more like, I don't know why Muay style or something. Like, I don't know. I just thought maybe it'd be a bit of a difference, but no, he just come out and just hands down, bounced on his toes, in and out, blitzing.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool. That was one of the coolest. I remember seeing that and being like, that was cool, man. It felt like when he done that felt like all of us were in there.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what it felt like.
He held the flag. He definitely held the flag.
Yeah, it was cool.
And yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say back to you, because we're obviously going to speak about Michael later on anyway. But like back to you as well. Like, someone like, so I started martial arts when I was, I think, 20. I think I was about 20 when I started training at your dad's club.
Yeah, probably.
So the difference, I wanted to know, like, the difference between someone who's trained from a very young age and myself. There's been moments for me where it's been like penny drop moments in training, like, that's what that is. That's what that is. Or this move works like this. Or just little penny drop moments that happen, like, as you train and do something for longer.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those for you, or was you too young?
Tons.
Yeah.
Tons.
Do you still get them out?
Oh yeah, but I don't register it in the same way. Again, it was always very playful. So sometimes you stress your brain out into understanding the hidden code that lies underneath the obvious
the magic
truth.
bullet.
The magic, that button that just doesn't exist. It's just being creative. And I know it. I just gave away that secret. It's just the open mind and creativity that exists, actually. So I can watch, and people didn't understand it, I can watch someone, a junior belt, maybe a lot younger than I am, kind of starting out, do something and go, wait a second, and start connecting dots. And then all of a sudden I've added something to my game from a novice. Like, I've been doing it for years and I've added something complete, like just the way, maybe even in reaction, they just flinched and moved their hand in a certain direction. I went, what the heck did he just do? And he probably didn't even know what he just did. You know what I mean? So I think that's more what it is. There isn't a hidden button, but I do get those moments where I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
Do you remember what the biggest moment for you was? Like, was there a particular round, was someone you sparred with, or like a move that your dad might have shown you that you were practicing, or like anything where you just went, and that's the one that sticks in your memory?
I can't say there's tons of times where I've tried something and it's worked. A particular move that's worked, that's made me go, I'm not sure. I mean, there was one time I caught Michael with his own move and he hated it. That was great. Yeah, I've got to tell you about that one. I've got to let the world know about that one. So he had a move called the rattlesnake, and he kind of punches behind his back without kind of looking, swings his hand behind and catches you. Now, this move it's a crazy move. It looks ridiculous. It looks like you're just swinging your head, but it's just so well timed. Now, he taught me this move maybe 20 minutes before we stepped onto the mat, and I ended up using it on him. Yeah, it was great. It was such a younger brother moment. I was so happy. You don't understand. That was probably one of the happiest moments like in my martial arts life. I'll be honest with you.
That's what I was going to ask you.
It's up there with the world championships. I'm telling you. But it was like literally, he's going through this move. He shows you, and he showed me how to do it when you kind of block the leg and then ride into that shot. And now, when you block the leg, all the weight is on their front legs, so they drop into that shot, and you really just swing your hand. So you hit hard. And yeah, so basically we went on there and he lifted up his leg. Automatically, I was like, I'm doing it. Blocked it, swung, boom, landed it flush. Like, it was beautiful. the look on his face, everyone was like, oh, going crazy, crowd went crazy. He was so angry. Like, I'm talking veins coming out of his head. His face was just like, I was like, whoa, I'm going to die now. But it was worth it. And I think he beat me after that. Like, I lost that fight, and he was coming at me. He was jumping, kicking. He was flying at me with everything. And I was like, there's nothing you can do that's going to take away that moment. And literally, there was one time I remember just walking off the mat. He went to hit me. I just walked off the mat. I was just smiling. I've never been in his head like that.
Ready to retire, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. That's good. That's good enough for me. I'd say that was the move that probably I would remember. But it was just creativity, and just me just being playful enough to try it. Funny enough, I used that move in a squad training before, and I remember catching someone again in the training, and then we just carried on sparring. And at the end of the session, the guy came up to me and was like, I don't remember. Did we spar, didn't we? I don't. He was like, you hit me with this shot. Like, I don't really see it, and I don't remember the rest of the session.
You concussed the dude.
Literally didn't remember, and I was like, oh, okay, sorry.
Sometimes you forget you're 6'5" and what, 120.
I was a lot younger then, but yeah, I mean, I probably was still up in the sixes, but it's always been very playful for us.
Yeah.
And I think that's just more so where it's come from, that kind of creativity.
And I was coming off the back of that, I was going to ask you, you kind of answered anyway, but sort of biggest moments in your, I wouldn't say martial arts career, I'd say your fighting career, because it's two different things, isn't it? Like, what's your biggest moments like in that? One, like, what's annoying is you've got like a ton of world championships and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, is there specific ones?
Some of them meant more than others. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone says they're all the same. They're not. The ones where you really feel you had to throw your heart and soul to get past that finishing line.
If the next words out of your mouth aren't that fight at Clash of Titans.
Weirdly enough, that was
genuinely. I've been to I don't know how many boxing matches, heavyweight fights. I've watched MMA championship. That is one of the best fights I've ever watched.
That was fun.
That was amazing.
That was great. I really enjoyed that. I mean, that has to be up there. That was a war. And
dude, that was mad.
You have the South, like the London kind of boys, against Liverpool.
The whole of the North, looked like, didn't it?
No, it's just the Liverpool squad.
Who there was obviously dad of the team.
Yeah, that was we was fighting actually Mushin Kai. That was Alfie Lewis. And they're savages as well. They're savages, man. Always have been. And they're tough as nails, and they will keep coming. And
again, kept coming. You kept coming. Right hand,
yeah, you kept coming, man. He brought war, but I knew he would. Anywhere? It's out there, yeah. It's out there. I think it's on YouTube actually.
That was amazing.
I'll see if I can find a link, maybe drop it in. But yeah, it's definitely out there. But it was a crazy fight. But I used to fight people from that team when I was younger, and it's never not been a war. If you've met Alfie Lewis, he was an amazing fighter when he was fighting.
Yeah,
Savage and the rest of it, and he taught the same.
there's like I don't remember your dad putting emphasis on toughness.
No, that wasn't his way.
That wasn't his way, was it? Everyone was tough anyway.
Yeah,
everyone was tough anyway, but there wasn't an emphasis on toughness. It seems to be more about skill and that.
You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
That kind of approach, and when I say have it, I'm not talking about skill and talent. I'm talking about heart. Everyone thinks you're talking about skill when you say you either have it. I mean, he used to, when it was just a fight club, you used to come in and you used to train. You used to train with everyone. You probably get slapped up and down the hall. Mm-hmm. If you came back, you were classed as you have it. If you didn't, you were never going to make it. And that's what it was. It was you either have it or you don't. It was never a case of, oh, you have to be this tough, you have to be strong, you have to. If I have to tell you that, you don't have it.
Yeah, and I genuinely do think you can lose it, man. I know from myself. Like, I was one of the guys that turned up, got slapped, came back, got slapped again. I think I got slapped and slapped and slapped. I didn't really ever start slapping people. But I think now, if I started, I wouldn't come back.
The thing is, it's not about. It depends what your goals are. You know, like if you want to be the biggest, baddest person in the room, yeah, of course, that makes sense. If you don't have that hunger to be the biggest, baddest person in the room, you're never going to be. If you want to be good in martial arts, you want to be strong and able to feel confident and be able to defend yourself if you had to. That's a completely different mindset.
Yeah, I was going to pick up on that. There's like a difference between when I think when your dad was doing the training the training sessions I was in, that was very competition focused and looking at winning matches, tournaments, and that was for your
progress. That was more done for your progress too. You won matches and things to help build you as a character. Because at the end of the day, what did you get at the end of it? A trophy, a medal. Okay, great. But it's more to build you as a character, as a person, and as a martial artist.
But it's horses for courses, right? There's different. You wouldn't do that with, I don't know, the 30-year-old mum who's coming in just to. No. You can't.
It's ridiculous. It's pointless.
I couldn't do that kind of training now. Like I just don't have the FU energy anymore. Like, you get slapped about as a young man, and it's just like, FU, I'm coming back. Like, I just want whatever it is you want, and then you get to my age now, and you think, I like my choice. You know what I mean?
To be like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to grow out of it, if I'm not. But to be honest,
but I think like looking at, you transcend it a little bit, don't you? You don't when you spar.
Yeah.
You don't ever get in a war. You don't ever get a slugfest. You don't need to. Like you're
sometimes, competitively, no, because it's silly. There's a chance of you losing, right? But sometimes in sparring, I like a bit of a war. I like to test myself. So I like a little bit to go in the deep end. I need to see what it's like. If I've never been there and I ever have to go there, I'm going to struggle. But I need to go there a few times. And like I said, because I have it's like a playful mindset.
Yeah.
In the midst of
things. Yeah. And that's something.
If you take yourself too seriously, if you take yourself too seriously, I think that's where a lot of people find a problem. So you would come back knowing where you have been, what you have achieved, and what you have done, and try and do the same. And if you don't hit that mark, you're upset with yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas,
to it.
100%, because you might see these young little whippersnappers coming up and
slapping you up,
they're slapping you up and the rest of it. And then it's more of it's like an ego. Like, if I can't reach that height, I don't even want to do this anymore. Whereas my mentality is my battles with myself. So even if these young whippersnappers are coming and they're beating me and whatever, if I could have done more, I'm about to try and do more.
Yeah.
And that's more so where it is. But like I said, like you say, every horse for a different course. And, in MMA, you don't get MMA fighters putting everything on their line, including their livelihood, stepping into the cage going, I just want to do well and really push myself. No, you're going to say, I want to be the best. I want to change. I want to challenge the best. I want to secure my future and my financial future. I want to destroy everyone in here. And if I don't believe that I'm capable of doing it, I can't be here. And that's the difference.
Why do you think people take up martial arts?
So many different reasons. I can tell you why they should.
No. What? Okay, look, I think that. Okay, so if you take it different levels,
yeah.
Why does someone want to be a fighter?
Okay, so that's different. That's a different question.
Yeah, different question.
Why does someone want to be a fighter? Again, there's still different answers though. For myself, being a fighter is who I am in regards to, like I said, maybe it's my environment, maybe it's the way, but that's in my person, and it's the challenge that I like. I want to know that I can go through. I'm unstoppable. Like
you can do that. You can do that. You can do that. Being a marathon runner, you can do that.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Playing bowls.
It's just my chosen field, really. 100%. And don't get me wrong, when I was in school, I did a lot of other sports, and I would have approached it in a similar fashion.
I think there's something specific about learning to fight that's different.
You know, I think also, I think it might be a security thing, a confidence thing, and a self-assurance thing.
Yeah.
I think that could be a major part of it. Even for myself, you know, I grew up in Croydon. I didn't grow up in the nicest of areas. I'm not, you know, bashing Croydon. I do love Croydon a little bit, but you know, you're surrounded by hostility and anger and confrontation, and that confidence wasn't a confidence to get in a fight. It was a confidence to stand up, essentially. And I think if you ever get confronted by anything or anyone, knowing that you can protect yourself, look after yourself, have that assurance that, you know, I've got this situation, makes you completely approach that differently. And I'd say for martial arts, it does that. You know, if you're a good footballer, but you have getting a confrontational, doesn't really have any bearings on that.
I think for you, I think that's obviously true.
Yeah.
I think obviously coming from a different perspective, that I think it's, you should flip it around. I think that me taking up martial arts showed me that I was never going to be the baddest man in the room. That I was never, you know, I can defend myself.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not going to be that. I'm never going to be that guy that can just take anyone out. And it gave me it pushed that monster away. It taught me that those sorts of situations you don't want to be getting yourself into. You want to avoid a fight at all costs. You don't want to just cross the road. You don't need to carry on walking there. That sort of thing. Like being able to avoid them and see them coming.
Oh, 100%. But don't get me wrong.
Knowing your limits.
So that, yeah, exactly. But 100%. But when you say, you know, you knew you was only the baddest man in the room, that was never something I thought about. I only thought about, I will never fear the baddest man in the room. That was my mentality, and that's all it was. So I never, like, I'm quite laid back in general as a person, you know. So being competitive, is something that's I am, but I can let things go. And you know, I've had people challenge me to fight me and the rest of it, and I've just been like, nah, mate. If you're gonna go, innit? I'm walking. I'm going this way. If you're gonna follow me, then whatever. But I'm not fighting you. And you know, that's where I've been at. When I went through, I think I was year 10 or year 11 before anyone in my school even knew I did kickboxing, because I didn't want that kind of attention. So, but again, everyone was like, right, he's really confident. He's really, because I didn't fear any man in the room. However, I respected that I do not need to get into these altercations, problems. Like you say, if I see someone suspicious, someone's following me, I know to cross the road. I know to, you know, stay in a lit road. I know not to go down certain alleyways. I have that kind of understanding of danger and that I am not unstoppable. However, there's no intimidation that's going to be able to, no one else is going to be able to do that to me. And I think that's what martial arts does for people.
Yeah. I think that's both. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and it definitely does both. And it's interesting you saying it from your point of view, because again, I would never be able to see that, because this is a normal environment for me. Yeah,
it's different. Like, you know, I think I wanted to start martial arts because I got mugged and assaulted in Brighton when I think it was 19, 18, something like that. And my mate Simon was like, we're gonna go learn martial arts to kind of defend ourselves. So I am that standard, I'm here for self-defense, kind of thing. But I had a bit of a knack for it, so it was all right. But it definitely came from whether it was proving myself to myself or just proving myself to others that, you know, I'm not going to be the guy that gets mugged or is a pusher. But it definitely, that kind of trauma definitely made me want to not be the weak guy in the room. Never, not the baddest guy in the room, but definitely not the weak guy in the room. And that can, you know, if you don't get taught your limits at a young age, like, you know, you're not going to be that person. You can become the bully. we've seen that with certain people and stuff. So I think it's important that you go in there and you get your licks, and you get shown that there's always a bigger, stronger dude.
Always a bigger, stronger dude. Yeah.
Always a bigger, stronger dude, man. So yeah, I think that's important. And but I think my answer to that question that I asked you with is that I think that most people come in to prove something to themselves. I think that's why they go into martial arts. I don't think there. I think there's a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But there is definitely, you can go and get fit doing CrossFit, going for a run. There's a particular reason that someone chooses to get fit doing a combat sport.
Yeah.
And it's I think it comes down to like being able to prove yourself. Like, I can do something difficult, hard, dangerous, all them sorts of things. Which kind of sets the sport apart a little bit. It attracts a certain personality type.
It does, and I think it's, for me, it's just more than a sport. If you're able to go, if that's where you want to go to have all of these different attributes of, confidence, etc., that's more than just a sport. You don't go to badminton for any of those values. You go to badminton to get fit, to enjoy it, maybe some coordination.
It's a skill. Yeah.
It's you're picking up life skills. You're picking up personality. Changes potentially. So there's so much more I think martial arts can cover, and it's for everyone. Even if you are the footballer, even if you are the this, it's open.
Do you think this? Do you think that? Because I think I've definitely thought in the past that martial arts should be taught in school, 100%. Like how I made it.
I've been saying it.
But do you not think on the flip side that it takes that person not having the choice to come to martial arts, it takes away from those personality changes that you talk about and that sort of thing? If you think of them kids that are kind of unwilling to learn, that probably the one.
It's an interesting point. I've never looked at it like that. If it's in every school, let's say hypothetically it's in every school, then the kid that's timid in that environment, who wants the self-confidence, is faced with the same problem when the bully goes to that class.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I've never kind of looked at it like that, because